Hey guys, welcome to the Nova Wealth Show. And actually, this will also be on our Finance Friday. This is the show where we transform your relationship with your money by giving you the information that you need to grow and protect your wealth. I'm Amy Novakovich, a certified financial planner and a chartered retirement planning counselor with Nova Wealth Management. And I have a very special guest today because I get calls all the time about the CBD stuff. So you're totally going to fill us in. But more importantly, Marvin Degon is here to talk about the world of professional hockey. He was a professional hockey player for 10 years. So we're going to cover all kinds of ground today, both business and professional life. Thank you so much for being here, Marvin.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you grew up north.
Yeah, I grew up in
Massachusetts.
Worcester, Massachusetts.
Nice. So there's a little bit of
Yeah,
an accent.
and I ran away from the snow down here.
Yes, absolutely. So you played all over the world.
Yes, I spent about 10 years. About 7 of them were throughout Europe. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Where was your favorite place to play?
Gosh, my last year was when I knew it was going to be my last year. It was in Slovenia, a small place called Ljubljana.
Oh my gosh!
I know it was hard to pronounce, but it was one of my favorite places. It was a beautiful town, cobblestone streets, all that stuff.
Oh,
plus
nice.
an amazing hockey rink. Yeah.
And so that, like, when you're traveling and when you're going all around, like, did you think at all of like life after hockey?
No, you're in the moment, right? You're going from contract to contract typically, or you're from game to game or opportunity to opportunity, right? So you're not necessarily thinking of what's happening next,
right?
You're a bit naive because you just think it's just going to be more hockey.
Well, and you're young too, though,
right?
Like I think it's just the age, like when you're coming into hockey and you're like, well, why would I think about the end of it? Like, I'm young.
Well, you miss a bit of the maturity level that some not professional athletes have, right? You don't have to go out and fight for a job or fight for it in a different way. So you miss a bit of that socialization maturity.
Right. And so did you have like social media and all that stuff, or you didn't get into that?
Facebook was, I went to UMass Amherst. So Facebook, I think we were the first large school test subject. That was my sophomore year.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like, we got poked. What do we do next? That was when that happened, right? But no, so I tried to stay in my lane, and I'm not necessarily an extrovert in that kind of space. So social media wasn't necessarily. I think it was MySpace was big then.
Oh yeah, MySpace.
Yeah. Now, now there's players in college before they've even earned a penny, and they have thousands of followers.
Yeah.
And that's a very powerful thing.
I think I told you. So we had Ryan Vesey here also in hockey, but he mentioned people will make fake accounts.
Yeah.
Like people will make a fake account, like they're you, for instance, and then they'll get followers and all this stuff. That's insane.
I try to stay. There's things that you can do. I mean, your social media brand is very important now.
No, it is.
It's you. It's what you want to show the general public.
Well, because when you're an athlete, and we tell our professional athletes this too, like you are a business,
right?
Like even though you're an individual, like you have to run your life like when you're an athlete. Mm-hmm. As a professional business. So like you said, you're a brand.
Right. Well, so when it's contract time, when that time comes,
right.
There, previously it was just about what they did on the field or the court or the ice. It was just about the statistics. The in the locker room stuff was obviously something that came up, but now they look at you as a brand. What's your social media look like? What kind of, friends do you hang out with? All of these things are out in the public because they put them out there. So you have to protect yourself and understand that what you're putting out there is going to be the value.
It's like a reputation. Like it's there's almost a stock, like we trade stock. So, but it's like you almost have your personal stock of your reputation. How good is your reputation, and how much drama do you bring?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think China's doing like a point system there. They like social media point system, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Did you have any guys that were like total drama?
No, I mean, no, it wasn't so big. It wasn't, it wasn't, when I was playing, I mean, I retired 4 or 5 years ago now. Yeah. So, and I spent a good portion of the end of my career in Europe. So I was a bit insulated from it, I guess.
Good.
That's good. Not to say that, the fans there were, but it just wasn't social media time yet. Now it's very clear that your Instagram account is like, the most.
That's your judgment of like how famous you are is how many Instagram followers you have. Well, that's what my 13-year-olds say to me. Like, well, they went to this YouTube. We're getting off topic, but they went to this YouTuber. Like, there's like these YouTuber live, and it's like a concert of YouTubers. I did not know this. See, this now I'm like aging myself, but this is like the thing, like, oh well, how many YouTube followers or subscribers do they have?
Yeah, I mean it's but at the same time you earn that, right? So just the same way, I mean you're just if you have a lot of followers, then you're just
Yeah.
you're probably a marketing whiz, or you're doing something
You're doing
that is
something.
attracting something.
Yeah, for sure.
And I challenge companies and whatnot that are looking for specific roles. Look at social media influencers and maybe scoop them up and give them, instead of making $5,000 for pushing a product, they can get $100,000 salary working in your marketing department.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean there's these people are auditioning constantly. They're influencers. They're looking for more followers, more opportunity, more connections, right? So that's very important.
That's
right?
good.
A good look at
No, that's awesome. If you're just joining us, we're here with Marvin Degon, 10 years professional hockey player and also in a business. So let's talk about this for a little bit. So your wife got into a business. Go.
Right. I mean,
got into a business like 18 months ago, right? With CBD oil. And you have to educate us a little bit. Like, I know a lot of people out there probably do their own internet research, but since you're in the inner workings of it, like, talk about, what is it? TH.
So it's a hot industry right now. Everybody talks about the THC, right?
THC.
CBD and THC, they go hand in hand. The understanding is rolling out, kind of at a snail's pace to some degree, because everybody knows everybody knows what they are. They know the 3 syllable, or the CBD or THC, but nobody really understands what they are to an understanding level where they could actually regurgitate it. And it's like playing telephone, right? If I tell my aunt about CBD, by the time it gets
or if they're Googling it,
right, it's a tough space. I mean, it's needed in this world, but the education side of it is what's missing.
Okay, so talk about what the TCP is.
THC.
Yeah, I gotta get this down.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. So THC.
THC.
It's tetra. It's a really long word.
It's an acronym. Okay. THC.
So there's hemp and there's marijuana. Marijuana is the plant that flowers.
Right.
And in the flower, there's the resins, or a majority of the resins, and that's where the THC is held. This is my understanding. The science of this in the actual studies are obviously hindered because of the nefariousness of this industry, right? So my actual understanding is always changing too. I mean, you learn things every day, and I'm a student of this, which is very exciting.
But the THC is the portion that supposedly gets you high.
Right.
Like, that's the high.
So when you go
in the CBD
and you buy weed, or you find weed, or you smoke weed, or whatever, these are bred to get you high. It's bred for extreme amounts of THC, and not necessarily saying that THC doesn't provide any health benefits, because like we were talking about earlier, somebody who's an introvert, or somebody who deals with anxiety or
but they could also just have a glass of wine, like,
there's
need to smoke up.
To each their own, right? but THC, when you consume it as it is, I kind of see it as more of a cocktail in ways where a cocktail can loosen you up almost the same way as a joint can loosen you up, I guess, right?
Okay.
CBD is the next buzzword, cannabidiol.
Yes.
But also, again, that's
the one that I'm more familiar with, because I get these calls all the time. What do you think of these marijuana stocks? So there's 2 different things going on here. There's this whole health world with the CBD oil and the CBD creams and all this stuff, and you're going to show us some of your your product line too. But like, there's all this stuff around the CBD area. But then a lot of times what clients call, they think they're asking about the health portion, but they're actually asking about marijuana stocks that grow and harvest legal marijuana that's meant to get you high.
Right.
So it's 2 totally different areas here. So I just want to be sure that, like, when you guys are calling on like a stock or a company that you might want to invest in, there's 2 totally different arenas. There's the health arena, and then there is the legal marijuana piece that you can get high on, like it's the recreational marijuana.
There's the
and then there's some companies that do
medical marijuana, recreational marijuana. It's marijuana, guys.
Right.
Hemp is hemp. Cannabis is it. The ways we kind of section them off are
but some medical marijuana removes the THC though.
No, medical marijuana is THC. So that's what marijuana is.
But a medical marijuana doesn't get you high though.
Yes, no, it does. Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Right. So marijuana is marijuana, right? So what we are is we're industrial hemp.
Okay.
So what industrial hemp is it grows in a way that doesn't necessarily flower. So the amount of resins and THC in it is very low. So the extraction process weeds all of that out, and that's why we can have products like our Sport line, which is a CBD isolate, which is just CBD.
Okay.
So that's, yeah.
So let's talk about this, because the first thing I asked you was, does this help with headaches? Because anybody that knows me knows I get headaches all the time. I get migraines. So I actually do have a CBD oil that I just spray like on my neck because I have bulging discs, and it definitely helps. It's like a temporary relief. Like you have to keep spraying it.
Right.
So yeah, this would be just a roll-on.
So we have a roll-on, or anything you can point to physically, like on your body that hurts or is sore, like a headache, similar like your temples or whatnot. You could you put this topically.
Well, I can't set it down.
Right. But the difference is depending on the particle size, how deep does it penetrate, right? So it's more of a temporary solution.
Oh, and it has mint oil in it too, which does help with headaches.
It's a little bit naturally mint flavored. Yes.
Yeah, which is super cool. So the company is Veda Sport. Yes.
Correct.
And so your wife founded it 18 months ago?
The company is actually AG Health.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's a health company. And Veda Sport is one of our CBD lines.
Got it.
Right.
Very cool. Okay, so tell us about the vapes.
The vapes. Someone who deals with headaches, I use it for my headaches or moments of anxiety or whatnot. But it's a vaping is a hot topic right now.
Totally.
Everybody wants to talk about it, but nobody wants to really understand about and listen.
Right.
So vaping isn't bad. Vaping is just a delivery of something.
The ingredients.
Right. And it could be any ingredients.
So it's basically delivering the ingredients without affecting others.
Right. So vaping is
because the difference between like smoking things is that you're inhaling it, you're taking it in, but you're also affecting the people around you.
Yeah, correct.
Whereas vape doesn't really.
Vape doesn't necessarily affect anybody around you. Vaping it's about what's in the vape. The difference between a Juul and our product obviously is it should be very clear. They're both vapes, but what is contained in the products is obviously not the same, right?
Okay.
So this is a health product, that is a recreational product.
Got it.
Big difference.
The big deal that you told me about this one is that this one's approved.
Right. So this is
for athletics.
So that's the point of our sport line. It's a CBD isolate. So there is 0 THC in this product.
Oh, it's going to be backwards. Might be backwards.
Right. Yeah, it's backwards. So it's
it
safe.
Might not be backwards to them. I'm not really sure, guys.
It's safe for anybody that's worried about testing. We are an official sponsor of the NWHL, which is the National Women's Hockey League. And they have athletes.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they have athletes that are worried
so
about
they just
testing.
use it for calming down, for nerves, for pain.
The science and the what we can actually say it does is
still being developed, right?
Right. Well,
still being studied.
So I have people that have said that they use this for IBS, which is kind of crazy for me because my understanding of this is that you need this in your digestive system on a constant basis to affect something IBS, like that, right? But his review, is gold to us because this is somebody that's, a very candid review,
right?
And telling us that our vape is doing this, and that's where this industry is at this moment. Is you have to, kind of rely on that. You have to rely on reviews. Anybody that says, "Well, what does it do?" I say, "Okay, type in what you think, CBD on YouTube, and I guarantee that there's somebody talking about it or that right there." So
that's why I have a hard time like investing into like a publicly traded like marijuana companies because it's like I have no way to analyze it. Like you said, like it's really
publicly traded. That's the other side of things, right? That publicly traded is another kind of thing that a lot of the things they're doing are doing them to manipulate the prices, of course. Right. There's a lot of propaganda in that
and there's
space.
Trading behind the scenes. So like I tell clients, I was like, some of the trading is manipulated by 75% of the shares, which means there might be 4 people behind the scenes manipulating the price.
A distribution contract or understanding something like that could just be 2 guys that live on different sides of the pond and they make a big press release about it. So you have to protect yourselves. And this is a very hot time to invest in something like that. Right. But you have to do your due diligence. I mean, when you go, 90% of these companies that are promoting CBD products, they probably won't be here in the next years due to regulation, due to
that's what I say too.
Now that
you got to see which ones shake out, like MySpace. Right. So like it's such the same thing. Like social media came out, and there was all these social medias, and MySpace is the one that didn't survive. So it's like which one is going to be the ones that survive?
Right.
So this one is owned by a health company.
Right. So we're a healthcare company.
Okay.
We're trying to affect more than just deliver a CBD product to the market.
Right.
That's we have a lot more bigger projects than that, including our sponsorship with NWHL. That's important to us. That kind of set precedent among the sports community that these products are coming. and whether, and it's needed. Canopy just started a
Yes.
project with the NHL Alumni Association.
Yeah. That one is publicly traded.
That's that's 100 players. 50 will get it, 50 won't. It's
Right.
over a year, so it's a great project.
Yeah.
It's analysis that's needed. It's a study that's needed, but that's not necessarily a solution to a guy that I played with or I know, very personally, who deals with anxiety to an extreme level. He can't wait a year on a study. So and I'm part of a study as well. That does brain scans and I take product and whatnot.
Yeah, because you've probably had a few concussions. Huh?
Yeah, I was always on 1-year contracts, so documentation of those were, I hopped off the training table when the coach was coming. I know nobody knew I was hurt when I was hurt, so that was very.
Oh my gosh! And how you're playing like very soon for. Team America.
Right. So we're going to go over and play with Stop Concussions guys,
there you go.
Which is a really cool project, which is something that I believe strongly in.
Yeah, absolutely. Where's that going to be? That's over in Europe,
it's
right?
It's going to be in the UK. Yeah, correct.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's going to be
It's going to be really fun. I'm really excited.
So what are you going to like? So do you take your oils and everything with you?
So yeah, so it's you can travel with them. Shipping them for purchase internationally is a bit sticky at the moment.
Yeah.
So our health company is working on much larger things than just what we're doing.
What's the other vape that you have?
The other vape here is the full spectrum product.
Oh, so that has the.
So this is so you have two products. I guess I can show them.
Yeah, go ahead.
This would be your sport product. This is for anybody who's tested. Anybody who has to worry about any kind of testing for THC.
Yeah.
And then this would be what science and history is going to be on the side of, which is THC is needed for the delivery of all the product. So we call them cannabinoids. But if you don't have the THC,
so with that one could possibly give you a small high.
No.
Because it's so low of a dose.
It's under the legal limit, so this could be sold anywhere. This isn't going to get you high. The effect that this would give you is what's called the entourage effect, which is something that you could look up and understand. It's some people call it a whoosh. Some people people just call it balance.
Yeah.
It really is just where your starting point. It helps you get to that point.
So what's next? So when you guys are researching, you guys are doing all this stuff, what do you think is next? So we've got vapes, we've got oils, we've got sprays, we've got lotions. So
those are all different delivery systems. So three of our biggest company prerogatives as far as through the Veda program, or the different Veda product lines, is different delivery systems. So when you talk about creams and vapes and roll-ons, those are all different delivery systems.
Right.
And then the other piece to it is bioavailability. So if you have somebody that needs a really high dosage, like when you're talking someone that's epileptic, and you see the videos and they put the oil in and they rub that's a time period that kid is having a seizure.
Right.
And one of the stop concussions. So if anybody knows anything about seizures, you're getting little concussions that whole time. So CTE in somebody who has epilepsy is a very,
or I'm on the board for the Parkinson Association.
Okay, yeah. So that shake is something that's not good for you.
Yeah.
So he needs a different delivery system. He needs a higher bioavailable product. If you're in Whole Foods or wherever you see these products, they're all oils. You have to digest them.
Yeah.
It's a very slow uptake, so that's why it's not working for someone in that case. So you need a different delivery. That's where the vape comes in. We have a spray, which is an aqueous formulation, which is basically instant as well, just the same as the vape. And you spray that on the inside of your cheek, or you spray that in a glass of water, or you spray it on a cocktail.
So you actually ingest it.
Right. So you actually but because of the particle size, because we talked about that with the roll-on, because of the particle size, it's an instant intake. It's not with an oil-based product like ours is MCT oil-based. Other products aren't. They have to go through the liver first pass. They have to go through the digestive system. So the actual product that you're intaking is not as efficient as it could be. So that's kind of that's
so cool,
right? So that's the different delivery. So you have oils.
So if people have questions, if they're confused, which one do I need? How do they get a hold of you, Marvin? So or do they go to the company's website?
Yeah, they can go to the website www.vedaecn.com. Is for the full spectrum product, and then we have
Veda is VEDA.
VEDA.
So VedaECN.com.
And then VedaSport.pro is our sport line, and we have a really cool guest blog on there. We have a couple of pro hockey players and girls from the NWHL. We have some, highlights and athletes. That's kind of one of the things that we're doing with the sport line as well. Is we're
with athletes.
Yeah, we're when you talk about that social media kind of thing, we're really trying to
Well,
take
it's good to
athletes.
have you as a representation. Like you were in the NHL for 10 years.
Well, yeah, I've seen a portion of what the professional side of hockey can do to players behind the scenes, but also, you know, ways to create their value in different ways than just on the ice.
Right.
You know, if there's a way to support a player, you know, with as simple as gym membership fees when it comes to the lower level of athletes or professional sports, to, you know, at some point, you know, being you know, equal to Nike
Well,
golf,
I feel like kids are getting bigger and bigger, younger and younger. Like, so we work with like an AAU team in basketball, and like we have these 8th grade twins that people are already targeting because they're like 6'10".
Yeah, right.
And they're big, and so they're already beating their bodies up in 8th grade. And I feel like, you know, like, was there 6'10" kids when we were young? I don't feel like this existed.
Yeah,
there were.
I mean,
this happens.
But you didn't see them because social media wasn't there.
You're right.
So
you're
our
right.
access to media is obviously exponentiating the things we see.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like kids, like the more they take care of themselves, because they're beating their bodies up harder and harder, earlier and earlier. You know what I mean? And so just think of, like you mentioned, like walking in here, you're like, yeah, the side of my head is like pounding right now because you've been through a lot of
high school hockey, 4 years of high school hockey, or prep school hockey. Would cut that out. 4 years of college hockey was very physical. I played in Hockey East, which is like you know, a very physical league, and then 10 years of pro hockey. You know, just games alone was almost 600 pro games. How many car accidents can you make that, right? So sometimes it was a fender bender, sometimes it was a 10-car pileup, sometimes it was 5 in a game, sometimes there was more in practice, right? So and that was that's not even
counting practice,
right? So for 10 years, you know, not just me, it's, you know, the guys I hit, or the guys that hit me, or the guys who were trying to earn my job or take my job, you know.
Did you ever get into big fights?
I was never shy. I was you know, I felt as though I was always trying to earn my next job or earn my next shift. You know, I've tried to not take things for granted. So you know, fights and everything. I was in a couple of, you know, I got punched in the face a couple times. I'll admit. I don't think I maybe punched somebody 2-3 times, but most of my punches were just like, okay, like, let's get it over with. All right, go down. You know, or like, you know, I was never the biggest guy, but I always wanted to play big, and I always wanted to never make that the question, right? That was the goal, right? That was never
your dedication was never a question.
Well, it was just my size and my weight and all that stuff was never going to be, you know, why I couldn't do something on the ice. I was always trying to hit the biggest guy.
Because you played defense.
Right? I was an offensive guy too, but like, I don't know. One of the things my dad said was when I was growing up is leave no questions. Right?
Yeah.
So that was
that's a good line.
Right.
Hashtag.
Yeah, right.
Leave no questions. That's a good job, Dad. All right, cool. So if you guys are just joining us, I'm here with Marvin Degon. We're just talking all things. He was in professional hockey for 10 years. We also have covered like the CBD oil. And if you have any questions, definitely feel free to contact us, and I can get in contact with him, and we can get any questions resolved. But you can also go to the Veda website, Veda ECN.
Yes. So Veda is the brand, and then ECN.
Veda ECN. Oh, ECN, and Veda Sport Pro.
ECN stands for endocannabinoid nutrition.
Okay.
You know, so
I'm glad they stuck with ECN instead of.
Well, on the doctor, you know, you go to your doctor and he's like, hey, did you hear about the endocannabinoid system? And I don't know. He went to medical school. He's going to say, get out of here a lot of times. Yeah. But this is where we're going. It's just as important as the digestive system, the endocrine system, the nervous system. The endocannabinoid system is actually the thermostat for the body.
Wow.
So imagine living in Florida or wherever you live without a thermostat. And
not being regulated.
Right. Just there's no thermostat in your house. Cold, hot. That's what your body's been living with without these products in it.
Wow. Oh, very cool.
Right. And that kind of simplify it.
That does simplify it. Well, I think it is, you're right. Like there's so many different levels and it can be confusing. And when you say things like that, like that's a good metaphor for it.
Well, yeah. The more you talk about it, the quicker you are to help somebody understand it, I guess. Because, you know, you have to have a lot of bad conversations.
Anything health-wise, like I think in this world, people are so quick to medicate. Mm-hmm. And I think anything that can be more natural and convenient without a prescription, I just think people are curious about it.
Well, that's medical marijuana too. I mean, you don't necessarily need a medical marijuana card. You don't need to get these products. You get these at farmers markets. You can get them.
Oh, that's a good point.
Lots of places. Medical marijuana is what's, you know, your grandma's telling you a story about she was supposed to just do a piece of rice on paper and then she's like put out for 2 days. And like, right. So that's what happens when you try medical marijuana for the first time, because the education's just not there.
No. It's just growing so fast too. I feel like it's just growing pains. Like it's an industry that has blown up so fast, so big, that you have a lot of different companies out there that don't really know where they fit in that space yet. So just the fact that you're with a dedicated health company, like you know where you're going, you know what you're focusing on. But people that don't do their research might just go out and just buy a CBD oil or go to a CBD store, which you see them popping up all over the place now. And they're just in it just for the money. They're not necessarily doing their research.
Well, there's a lot of market to be had, right? There's a lot. This is every animal, every breathing organism on Earth has an endocannabinoid system. So I don't know if you should answer it.
No.
Yeah,
answer it. Yeah, right.
Right, they're already calling it.
Yeah, they're like, "Hello, I have some questions." No.
But there's a lot of market space, and there's lots of products, and if you've bought a product and it doesn't work, that's the problem, right? So now you're going to tell people that it doesn't work and not to waste your money on it, because right now they're very expensive. Right. So that's a problem. That's one of the biggest problems in the industry, is somebody getting something that doesn't work and then spreading that news.
Well, like, so how much is the vape?
The vape is $36. It lasts roughly 2 weeks.
Okay.
And this is for the early adopter, right? So there's no charging. You don't have to screw with the cartridge on. You don't have to refill anything. You buy it, you use it. When it's done, you throw it away.
Oh, really?
That's it. Yeah. So that's a market that really hasn't been introduced to these products yet, right? So they're thinking that vape is, oh my God, the kids are doing vapes. They shouldn't do vapes, right? Yeah. So this is once people have this, they're loving the effects of it. Right, cool. But then the oil and everything in our product line is very well priced in a way that we think that it should be accessible to everybody. Not just save your paychecks to get these products and only take them when you have an ailment. These need to be in everybody's every day. Right. Yeah.
Did you ever think 10 years ago when you were in the league that you'd
Absolutely
be sitting here right now?
I didn't
talking
smoke
about
weed.
this?
I didn't smoke anything. Yeah. I didn't do any. I barely drank. I was driven.
A good boy.
Right? Yeah, I was. and now I have my medical marijuana license. I have.
Oh wow.
I'm an advocate in this space. I was in High Times magazine a couple times
really?
in the past couple months. This is something that
you should send me those links, because then I can post them.
Well, if this isn't in my daily life, I don't know how I'd be able to function.
Yeah.
I have my shoulders. I have really bad shoulders. I have really bad hips, my knees, my hands, my head is
all joints.
Right. So without these products in my life, knowing what I've been through,
so that's a good testimonial.
Understanding what everybody else has been through, not saying that anxiety is a sneaky thing, right? If you can't go for that run in the morning that you love, you're going to have anxiety.
Yeah.
Right. So that's,
you have other outlets that you can't always access.
Right. So it's not just me dealing with anxiety, and it's not because I was beat up or whatever reason. There's other reasons that.
Everybody deals with stress.
Right. Well, they're right. So
in a different way, but you're right. If you can't access that workout right now,
if you're not able to be yourself, you're gonna find ways to become yourself. Yeah. Right.
Right. God. Give me this drink. Which you can do.
Florida's not a bad place to be if you're, if you're
definitely
worrying about depression, right?
So last thing, I just want to wrap up real quick, but last thing that I did want to ask you, because we do work with professional athletes that may or may not be watching. So now, because I know the biggest interest that people probably have is in these products, but my interest is in when you're in professional athletes and when you are a professional athlete and when you're around a lot of professional athletes and people get caught up in the lifestyle and they spend money, and are they saving money? Like, so what are you taught when you were traveling around? Does anybody talk about it? Does anybody think about it? Like, what were your experiences with that?
I mean, there's the guy that usually runs the blackjack game on the bus is doing the best, right?
Yeah.
No, it's different. There's different guys coming from different walks of life.
Right.
Hockey is a different sport. I think we talked about it for a minute.
Yeah.
It's a blue collar sport.
Yeah.
So you have the bottom, revenue kind of family, and you have that because it's an expensive sport. So my family gave up everything so that I could play hockey and my sister could figure skate. Right. So they
oh my gosh, figure skating?
Yeah, even crazier, right?
Oh my gosh, so expensive.
So once you become a pro, I appreciate
both were on the ice.
Right. Different times though, different, like way different. I figure skated too, but like for hockey.
Oh
they're
my gosh.
way different.
Very cool.
But yeah, so different demographics grow up, and then we end up in the same locker room. So, you know, there was the guys that got the Range Rovers and got the cars and did all that stuff. But and then there's the guys that had condos that they rented out and weren't, you know, and
trying to build assets.
They were like even for the year, and it's like,
wow,
right? So.
That's the smart thing that I'm trying to teach the kids.
Right.
Like, you know, when I call them kids, but I mean, they're 20, 21, 22. And it's like, if you can build assets instead of just buying stuff,
it's hard. Yeah. What kind of stuff? What stuff means something to somebody? And it's typically
stuff means it does not have the potential to make
right.
You
Go
money.
get a nice car, lease your car. Okay. Lease your car, 3 years, walk away. It costs you a couple extra bucks.
That way you don't have to deal with the
fancier
depreciation.
Car. You don't have to worry about anything. Lease your car. I don't know if that's good.
Yeah.
Advice. Is it good
advice?
I
mean,
I think it's good advice.
I think that's great advice.
Get a good phone, great phone. Get a great computer, iPad, whatever your digital media device is.
There you go.
And then I don't know.
Call it a day.
Like,
well, a lot of times
manage,
it's the jewelry. It's the chain.
I never got. I got no jewelry.
I know you don't.
I got nice loafers. I like to dress nice.
You do.
I'd like to. Yeah, right. Spending money is a lot of times you're pressured into it because the guy before you, right? So the veteran status, the previous, and now you have social media and you have to push this brand, and your brand has to be what? How do you have to be flashy? Right. I don't know.
So I guess if you can stay out of that, if you can avoid that and just have your own.
I don't say you have to avoid it. So one of the things we're doing with us is we're sponsoring athletes. So we want to build their brand. We want to let them be themselves. So it doesn't mean don't spend money, but it means be smart about it.
Be smart about it.
And being smart about it isn't, you know, is it a depreciable asset?
If you can afford it. That's the other thing too.
Being able to afford it today. Can you afford it
beyond
at 60?
Your means.
If you're 23 years old and you buy this car and you spend all your money on this car, and you buy cash, because that's what everybody wants to do. They want to walk in with a briefcase, buy cash, drive, right? Can you do that when you're 60, knowing that your average career is how long? 4 years, maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
What's the minimum salary?
Like
minimum
10
salary.
Years, you're lucky to have a 10-year
minimum
career.
salary in the NHL. The NHL has the highest minimum salary out of any sport, I believe, pro sport.
Oh wow.
But it's got higher salaries, of course.
Right.
But you know, so anybody in the NFL, they come home and they play in the NFL, they have to personify themselves in a way.
700,000 is the NFL minimum.
Okay, so they're creepy. They're about the same. I think NHL when I was around it was like $5 million or something like that. So guys are making money, but then after taxes, after tax. The NHLPA takes their stuff, and after you pay your agent fees, after you have your life insurance, after you have your disability insurance, there's bills, right? So those things need to be, what's your monthly, what's your yearly, and then what's going to be
and then
over.
A lot of times when you're in a professional league, as you know, they pay for a lot of like your living expenses. So then when you're not in a league and all of a sudden you're just an adult and all of a sudden you have a mortgage.
Oh, it was wake up time.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I was in Europe, so it was different. In Europe, they give you a house and they give you a car.
Yeah,
and you're net.
Yeah.
So every dollar you get or you sign a contract in a contract. So
it's taxed differently in Europe too.
Right, and then you file the tax return, you get the tax. I don't know if that might be, but whatever.
Yeah.
I paid plenty of taxes.
Yeah. Nobody's doubting that.
So the understanding of what you're taking home and then when it stops. Yeah. So you're paid typically for a pro hockey player. You're paid from like September to April.
Okay. And
then that summer period, you have nothing. There's no
income.
That's it.
No, that's how. Yeah.
So you got to get an apartment, or a house or wherever you're playing, and you have to understand that who's going to give you a 6-9 month lease,
and you have to budget.
I don't know, and then
because you only made your money for that time.
It's very, very difficult to budget.
It is.
It's
so you almost have to surround yourself with at least somebody, like
a
family member, a professional, somebody that can help you because you're focused on winning.
Right. You have to understand that the coach's job is to keep his job. The GM's job is to keep their job. The player's job is to keep their job. So, you have to surround yourself with the people that help you keep your job. Yeah. And that might be protecting you from yourself if it's a drinking or partying kind of situation, or stupid social media posts, or buying stuff you don't need or can't afford or whatever. Right. So you have to if you're not able to protect yourself from yourself, then
you got to have somebody to help you.
I mean, it's hard to be a professional athlete.
It is
really hard. I mean, got lucky the first 2 years, and I spent the majority of my year trying to get back to North America.
Oh, wow.
And it's difficult. You get an opportunity, and if the right person is I mean, there's so many players that are so much better than me that didn't play anywhere near as much as I did.
Oh, wow.
Right, or the level that I got to play at.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys that aren't better than me too. But it's that give and take, and you have to understand it and know that we're all in it together in a lot of ways too.
So in order to do that though, you have to check the ego and the pride.
Yeah, the ego is, but at the same time, you don't want to snip somebody's creativity, right? Everybody wants finesse now. Nobody wants to see people get hit.
Well, and everybody wants like the confidence.
Yeah, they want.
So then you have that fine line of, well, I have this ego because I have a confidence. I don't want to put out in the universe that I'm weak or that I'm, it's just that
you have a brand.
Yeah.
And you have to put it out in front of you, right?
That's so good. Oh, I really like what you just said about how you have to surround yourself with people that are going to help you keep your job.
Right, because that's your job. It protects their jobs too, right? And if you structure it correctly, or if you're smart enough about it, then they don't take advantage of you, because there's a lot of people that want, oh, I'm going to open a restaurant. Let's go open a restaurant. Like, don't open a restaurant. Just don't.
Right.
Like
restaurants are so hard.
It's just or
a car wash.
Just put your money away and focus on playing. Focus on playing, and if you have somebody that you trust, like management, or you know what I mean. You have somebody that shows you something that makes sense. Get educated, because that's the most important piece, right? You have to know what you're doing, or know who you're dealing with.
Very good. Well, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for being here.
Well,
if you absolutely feel like that you got something taken away from today, put it in the comments, tweet it out, follow us on Instagram at Nova Wealth Management, and definitely go to our website and check this out. Oh, we'll have it on the Wooditch Network too. So thewooditchnetwork.com. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Have an awesome day, guys. Have an awesome weekend, and we will see you next time.
Thanks.
There we go.